Now, we talk about writing a lot, and of course that is the essential skill that you need to have. But what we're going to be asking you to do before too very long is to start gathering your own information and writing your assignments based on your own information. Now, there are three basic sources of information. There is what we call stored information, things you can look up, whether it be in the library or on the web or wherever it's written down and stored. Second kind of information is what we call observational or on-the-scene information. That is where journalists go and actually watch something and write about what they see. Journalists generally prefer to do this. But not every story they cover is an event. Not every event is known beforehand so that it can be covered. We are led mostly to use the third type, which is personal sources. People who have information. And the way we get information from people is through interviewing. Interviewing, in a professional sense, is an essential skill of the journalist. As an interviewer, you have to learn to ask questions. You have to learn to stop asking questions, to shut up, and you have to learn to listen. And all three of those are acquired skills. Now, interviewing is not simply conversation. It's great if you are a good conversationalist, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be a good interviewer. Interviewing takes a different set of skills than simply being able to talk back and forth with someone. When you are interviewing, you are doing it in a professional realm. And there are certain customs and conventions and rules that apply. First of all, when you're covering a story, who should you interview? Well, it would be very convenient for you to interview your roommate. Okay. What do you think about this? What do you think about the new iPad? Your roommate tells you, and you write a story based on that. What's wrong with that? Your roommate may not know a thing about what it is that you're asking about. Your roommate may know about drugs and where to get them in Knoxville and may be an expert on that. And if you're doing that kind of a story, then yeah, your roommate is probably the guy or the gal to interview. But if you're doing something else, maybe not. Who should you interview? You want to interview people who have the most knowledge, who have the greatest expertise in the topic or the subject or the event that you are covering. Okay. Now, the reason you're interviewing people instead of looking things up is because people generally have the best information and the most recent information. And those are two essential things about your information that you want to be sure that you get. You want to get the best information. You want it to be the most recent information. You're looking for the most knowledgeable people about a subject who have the most recent information about it. Often that means people who were there when you weren't, eyewitnesses, or people who are in charge of something. The mayor, the chief of police, the fire chief, People who are in charge, the assumption is no more than the rest of us. Actually, any of you who have worked as journalists, particularly on a beat, in journalism, news organizations sometimes assign journalists to cover a particular topic on a continuing basis. It's called a beat. And so there might be a journalist who has the city government as a beat. Okay, so they go to the city hall every day and try to find out what the news is. And they can talk to the mayor and the head of the sanitation department and the whatever. Chances are those people won't tell them very much on a day-to-day basis. Who knows what's really going on? When you're on a beat, if you're a beat reporter, who do you get to know even before you get to know the mayor? Who knows? The secretaries. And if you're a good beat reporter, you learn the secretaries' names, their birthdays. You learn the names of their children. And every time you walk in their office, you ask them about how their kids are doing. And those people know what's going on. It's often people who are not at the top who really do know what's going on who will tell you that. Now, the way journalism works is you don't want to wind up quoting these people a whole lot because you get them into trouble. They're not supposed to really be giving you information. But then what you do is secretary will tell you something, it's off the record, but she's told you, what's going on. And then you go to the mayor, and what do, John?
Tell him what the secretary has.
Yeah, but you don't say, your secretary just told me this. You just say, well, I've been told such a, why did you hear that? Well, I have my sources. And, well, all right, since you know already, I guess I'll have to talk to you about it. And so that's how you get your information. So you develop people as sources, and you learn how to talk to them. You learn how to ask questions. You want the most knowledgeable people with the most expertise, with the most recent information. You want eyewitnesses where they are available. You want experts in particular subjects or a particular event or whatever. And then you want generally knowledgeable people about a subject. So you want people who have well-informed information, and also you want people who have well-informed opinions about it. Opinions are not a bad thing in news story as long as somebody else is saying them. Okay? They're not a good thing if they come across as being your opinions. Okay?